Guys, autofanatic. I finally got the carbon Alcantara steering wheel for my Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Only problem is they sent me a Stelvio version of the steering wheel, which the carcass and everything is the same, but the module button pack is different, and I'll show you here. See that little switch right there? That's some sort of Stelvio only option. But anyway, I'm going to show you step by step on pretty much how I removed the carcass, the wiring, how the airbag removes from the steering wheel. I mean, somebody out there in the world may be doing a steering wheel swap on a standard Giulia or a Quadrifoglio, and this will probably help you guys out. So let's get over to the trunk of the car, show you how to disable the battery. This is a little different than a Ferrari, Maserati, and I'll show you real quick. Let's get over there right now. All right, guys, we're over in the trunk of the battery compartment on the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Now, on Ferraris and Maseratis, there's a little plastic lever that you hit, and it's like a quick release. On this particular car, if you look carefully, this has a quick release as well with a little gray tab. Let me just get the camera in there. If I could get it, there's just really no room. So right back here, there's a little tab that you press in. Watch. You press in, and you slide the negative terminal up and off the battery, like I show you right there. See that? Okay, so it takes you a matter of seconds. That's the negative terminal. That's the spindle where the terminal goes. So you don't need any tools. It's a quick disconnect. Here is the gray tab. Okay, let me just get that on camera. It's really hard to see in here. You see that? You just depress this little tab and it pops right out. So let's get over to the factory steering wheel that's on this car now and get the airbag taken off. All right, guys, so I waited about 10 minutes. I wanted the entire electrical system to fully discharge. There's a lot of capacitors in the modules and everything, so that's just safe practice, and that's just what I like to do. So to remove the steering wheel on the Giulia and the Stelvio, there's a hole right here in between the silver trim piece. Now in that hole, I'm going to use a hex tool, and you push up, and you got to find that there's a spring in there, and you got to get it just right. There we go. So I had to switch tools, and I had to use a 6mm T-handle hex because it was flat. The one I was using had a ball end, and I couldn't get a good grip on the spring mechanism. So let me get the camera up here, and I'll show you. All right, guys, so I got the camera in my hand. As you can see, the airbag carcass is now removable. See that there? So what you got to do is just carefully remove the wiring. And what I do, I index and mark all the wiring, usually yellow, white, and black. So what I'll do is I'll put a dab here and on here, just so I know, because you know sometimes if you're not paying attention, you could screw this up. So I'm going to carefully remove all the wiring, get the airbag on the bench, and then I'll show you guys how the steering wheel comes off, and we're going to swap out the carcass from this one into the new one and get it back on the car, and I'm going to show you the finished result, so stay tuned. So guys, you see how the clip comes out? You just pull it out like that with a little flat blade screwdriver, and then you could safely release this like that. You got to get under it very carefully like that, and that's how you remove airbag clips. Now we got to get this little guy over here. Same thing with a flat blade screwdriver. And then if you look down here, we have a green and a yellow attachment as well. So let's get this guy out. And I tell you, they don't give you a lot of room on the harness in this car on anything that I'm noticing. I hope you guys could see that on camera, what I just did. So I indexed black dot, black dot. This one I'm going to leave alone. The other one's got a yellow dot. And that's how you're going to know your orientation when you go to reassemble. And that's it. Now the airbag assembly is out of the car. Now we're going to go and get a wrench and pull this off, and then we're going to swap everything out in a minute on the bench. The hex bolt that's holding the wheel on, it's a 24mm. Do not use an impact gun. Go carefully. And this could be a top lock nut. I don't know yet, but if it's not, I'm just going to throw a little dab of blue Loctite on this when we reassemble. But we're almost off. Now some cars have splines, some of them have a hex index. As you can see here, this one has splines, and then there's a little notch indicator right there as far as how you center the steering wheel back onto the car. And you don't have to kill it when you reinstall it either, but you got to make sure it doesn't fall off and get loose. So there we go here. That's the nut. You could see there's blue Loctite already on that, so I'm going to reapply some more blue Loctite when we go to reinstall it. So let me just show you real quick what we got here. If you look carefully in the casting of the steering wheel, there's a little notch at 12 o'clock, and then there's a little notch on the threaded stud coming out of the steering column, and that's pretty much how you index the steering wheel to become straight. So hope you guys could get that on camera. I'm trying to get the light in there as best as possible, but that's pretty much how you do it. Now if you can't see it, very simply take your Sharpie or paint marker and just mark it like that and mark it like that. So let me see if you guys could see that there. You see how I marked it? So that's just a little pointer if you guys are doing this so you don't get confused. Always mark it, take pictures, go slow, and always backtrack your work. So let's get this thing off the car right now. There's a naked steering column without the steering wheel. It actually reminds me of Knight Rider's steering wheel as far as the shape and the way it looks right now. So you got to carefully remove these three plugs. You don't want to misalign this. When you put it back, you want this mechanism to be where it is. That's just important. Let's go over to the bench and I'll show you how we're going to swap everything. Guys, over on my workbench, you can see this is the carbon wheel carcass, and this is the wheel that was on the car. We got to pull all the guts out, transfer it to that. Before you ever go forward, pay attention to the wiring. Make sure your wiring, you have a blue plug here, a gray plug here. So you got the blue plug here, the gray plug here. Always make sure, because you never know. With manufacturers, with different options, they could change this all up and you'll pull your hair out trying to make it work. Also, keep all your screws in a little magnetic tray. These three here are these three here that remove the plastic carcass that has a spring mechanism that I'm showing you right here. So when you stick that tool underneath the steering wheel in that hole, it's going to push on this spring, and if you look carefully, see that? And that's how you release the actual airbag from the steering wheel assembly as it goes. Now, as far as the screws here, you got three long threaded screws. They're like coarse threads, and then you got two short ones. The two short ones go on the back behind the starter button. The long ones go here, here, and here. And then there are little 8mm that go on left and on the right. Always keep track of what you're doing, and we're going to pull this apart right now. So let's just get started. I actually enjoy doing tedious work like this. I actually really enjoy it because it's therapeutic to me. Get this little guy out. So this is a 3mm. If any of you guys need to know what it is. And these are threaded in there. Okay. Grab my magnetic tool to pull them out. Little trick so you don't go crazy. And we got one more down here. Put those to the side, flip it over. Now we have to get these torque screws out. Put those to the side. Like I said, I don't know how many people are going to be, doing this stuff on this particular car, but I figured I'd shoot a video just to show guys, because somebody in Europe or somewhere around the world, they may be wanting to do a steering wheel swap and they don't want to pay the dealer to do it. And you could very easily just do it yourself. So just double check, make sure you got everything loose and removed. You see this screw here, it's not fully out yet. Now it's out. And we just lift up. and the whole assembly is going to come out one shot. Okay, so these little dimples there and there actually has a nice tight pressed fit to get the main carcass out. So now comparing them, you can see the two steering wheels are pretty much the same. So let's get everything swapped over and we'll get this going. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to carefully install the carcass assembly into the new wheel. That's it. And these corners press in, like I show you. Go all the way around the wheel, make sure it's clicked in. First order of business. Don't kill them, otherwise you'll crack the composite mechanism ring. So just torque them down so they bottom out. Now this blue plug goes into the actual steering column, and this plug goes onto the actual airbag. Then the 3 airbag plugs for the dual stage airbags, they're going to come right through this opening here. So that's all secure. We'll flip the wheel over. Now we're going to start installing hardware. So these guys go first. Okay. There's no Loctite on these, FYI. Okay. So the short screws go behind the starter button, because if you use the long ones, you're going to blow right through the plastic housing and you're not going to be happy. Long ones go here. Until they bottom out. So I'm going to clean up the workbench and I'll show you the newly transformed carcass on the new wheel. And the Stelvio button pack is totally different. Totally different. And if you don't do this, you will most likely get all kinds of fault codes. And that's the last thing that I want right now. So that's it. So there's the carbon wheel with everything transferred over, the button pack, the airbag mechanism carcass, everything. Fully assembled, ready to go back in the car. So let's get over to the car and we'll get this thing put in for you. Okay, first order of business. The 3 airbag plugs have to go in one at a time through the bottom slot, like I'm showing you. And just be patient. You don't want to break these. You'll be in big trouble if you do. Now we're gonna feed the harness through to give us the slack we need. We're gonna line up the mechanism right there, just like that. Get the light. And as you can see, we're lined up with the slot. Connect the blue plug. Then we're going to put a little dab of blue Loctite on here, onto the retaining 24mm nut. And we're going to torque it down, reassemble it, and I'll show you when it's all done. So I put a dab of blue Loctite onto the retaining nut. I'm going to carefully get it on there. Always by hand. Never use an impact gun, FYI. So once you get it on there, finger tight, then just get your ratchet and socket and slowly tighten it down until you feel the resistance. Then what I like to do is I like to put my leg on the wheel and I put pressure up. Okay, that's definitely not going to come out. It's definitely not going to come loose. So, looks great. You guys can see it there. It's a little bit, a little tedious because I had to replace everything from the wheel that was on the car onto the new wheel because they sent me the wrong one. But I'm sure you guys might run into that problems if you buy wheels online or used or whatever. Now we're just going to reconnect the airbag. And you see the color code, so you have baby blue, you have yellow, you have black. So even though if you didn't index it, that's how you're going to color code all these back into the normal locations. Line your airbag up and put pressure. That's it. Now it's installed. Looks great. So let me just clean up my tools and I'll show you guys how it looks when it's done. Okay, so we're all wrapped up inside the car. Now just reconnect your battery and just slide it over the terminal. And it's going to lock in because there's a groove on that terminal and we're good. So you replace the carpet, turn the ignition on, go through all your prompts, make sure everything is secure, you didn't forget anything. If you did, go back, disconnect the battery, pull it all out, and fix it. Also, make sure you reinstall the rubber boot over the nut that is retaining the steering wheel to the column. You never know, could be grounding issues, and just for safety, just do it as designed. So let me just show you some photos, and like I said, thanks for watching. This may help some of you guys out that have this car or have other Alfa Romeos, and you're going to do a steering wheel swap. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more automotive content on this channel. Autofanatic at yahoo.com. Go to my website, auto-fanatic.com. See you guys soon. Time to go drive. All right, guys, there's the steering wheel finished. FYI, when you reconnect the battery and start the car, everything lit up like a Christmas tree. That's normal on any Italian car or German car. You just got to drive the car and go through 3 or more ignition cycles and everything goes back to normal. You don't have to pretty much reset proxy on this car. If you do, you got to go to the dealer, but that's why I like to disconnect the battery. But some guys could do these jobs with the battery connected. I don't like to do that, so it was pretty painless. You guys can see there, it's done, looks awesome. See you guys soon. Take care.